The UK government doesn't want tariffs on a range of goods in the middle of this financial situation. The only entity suggesting that might be, in the back pocket is the European Union.
I will hold on a second now. I mean, the British government signed up to an international deal with the European Union, and unilaterally is saying we're going to renege on this deal if we don't get what we want. I spoke to industry last week, and particularly the Brexit Business Working Group in Northern Ireland. Manufacturing in Northern Ireland is doing very well because of the protocol. The meat industry is doing well because of the protocol. The dairy industry is doing well because of the protocol. There are certain sectors...
Marks and Spencers can't transit sandwiches from Birmingham to Belfast.
But the bigger areas and the bigger sectors are doing far better because of the protocol. You can't ignore that. Now, just take the consumer goods and consumer-facing goods and so forth. Legitimate issues have been raised. No one is saying they shouldn't be discussed or resolved. The European Union wants to resolve them.
It's been 18 months. You would not accept any trade barriers for sandwiches made in Dublin going to Cork.
But whose fault is it that it's 18 months? Ask yourself that question. Ask the hard questions of the UK government. I mean,
we ask hard questions of the UK government.
Yeah, but
I'm talking to you now.
I don't mean you don't know. I didn't mean it.
I'm talking to you now.
Yeah, but that's my answer to you. The point is there hasn't been engagement by the UK on the detail of this. And Maros Sefcovic produced a set of proposals last October. What was the response? The response wasn't about Sainsbury. The response was about the ECJ, the European Court of Justice, which wasn't the core issue in Northern Ireland, or isn't the core issue in terms of unionism. Unions are interested in the goods from Sainsbury to supermarkets in the north, and we are saying that let's explore mechanisms by which we can address those particular issues.
There are red and green channels. Sounds pretty plausible.
But get involved in the discussions. But you can't ignore and not reciprocate and then make announcements that it is our intention to introduce legislation to just literally circumvent what you signed up to, an international agreement.
Isn't the reality that you're bluffing? The worst thing for the Republic of Ireland would be that in amongst this tangled web, you throw in tariffs and a trade war.
Well, we're not throwing
that would make it even more difficult, especially for you, for your food exports.
But we're not throwing in tariffs. I mean, we didn't start this. We didn't,
but that's the suggestion. That's the threat in the background.
No, we're not. I mean, these are negotiations.
So you're not threatening a trade war.
In the first instance, the negotiations are between the European Union and the United Kingdom government. The United Kingdom government solemnly signed up to an international agreement, got it ratified in its own parliament, recommended this deal to its own parliament. There are mechanisms in the protocol to resolve issues around the operation of the protocol, which haven't been fully utilised. And if they had been utilised, we may not be in the situation we are currently in now in relation to the protocol and the trade agreement between the European Union and the United Kingdom government.
That is history. I put it to you that the overall diplomatic effort and discussions that we're having right now, threats of trade war, the Americans at your behest coming in, also pressurising the UK. The end result of this is you're going to turn unionism not just against the protocol, but against the Good Friday Agreement as well.
No, but first of all, again, no one's threatening anything. The only unilateral move that has been made here has been by the United Kingdom government, which has threatened to tear up an international deal it signed with the European Union. That's the only threat here on the table. I mean, that's what's happened.
What would the consequences of a trade war be?
Trade war would be shocking for everybody. Nobody wants a trade war. It would be shocking, and it's totally...
Well, what are we talking about?
It's totally unnecessary.
The EU would target politically sensitive UK
No, we're not getting into.
cars.
I'm not going to get into the detail of anything like that now, because hopefully that's something we don't ever have to contemplate.
Do you feel that the UK government is playing fair here?
I don't, actually, and I've said this, I don't think this is fair. I don't think the way they're behaving in terms of the decision to unilaterally introduce legislation is fair, or the correct behaviour in respect of how we always traditionally engage in terms of EU, UK, other. When countries sign an international treaty, it should mean something. It shouldn't be something that can be just almost in a cavalier manner discarded by one party to the agreement. That's a big concern to EU member states now, who by the way want to resolve this. I've said this to the British Prime Minister time and time again. The leaders of Germany, of France and others, they don't want minute checks on everything going into Northern Ireland. They want to resolve this and they want to protect the single market as well. But I think that's doable.
I see an Irish leader here who thinks perhaps the EU's got our back. We've got a president in the White House who's very Ireland friendly, and just perhaps you're overplaying your hand and risking the delicate situation in Northern Ireland?
We're not overplaying any hand, we're hardly playing the hand. We've observed Brexit, it happened. We didn't influence that, we accepted fully. It had implications for Ireland, we prepared for it as best we could in terms of all the details around customs and all of that. We did that. And we worked with the European Union in terms of the trade agreement. Like, Britain is our closest neighbour and friend.
But that trade flow has been hit. The Republic of Ireland to GB trade is down.
Has been hit a bit somewhat, and I think that's because there was not, I get a sense the UK perhaps were not as well prepared for it. And also,
So you're blaming that on Britain?
not all of it, I mean, but it's just a factor of, but Brexit is going to create that, you see.
There were some problems at Dublin Port.
But Brexit means the disruption of trade.
Would you implore Britain to sign a veterinary agreement with the EU to help?
Of course, we should work out a veterinary agreement. That would help enormously. Yeah. Look, there are ways of solving this. Yeah. I've no doubt about that, and I've been at pains to say this to my good friends in the British government, that there are ways to solve this, if the will is there to solve it. I haven't been clear that the will is actually there to resolve this. And as I say, and I repeat, we're not clear on the landing zone in terms of what would satisfy the UK government in the end.